Mr. Speaker.
Marama Fox.
Kia ora, Mr. Speaker.
Kia ora.
I'm a little bit bemused. In fact, I wonder at this House in 2016 how we can continue to bathe in the lack of understanding and ignorance that engulfs our country in respect to the treaty. For all of these people to stand up and say it is not necessary, it's in the law. It's not necessary, we don't understand what the principles are. Well, educate yourself. We have been told by the Honourable Chris Finlayson that he has clearly articulated it for the benefit of all New Zealand, and we are eternally grateful. So, Mr. Peter Paraone, there is no substance to your argument in not supporting this bill tonight. Your argument is, in fact, more critical and political than have anything of any substance. Mr. Nuk Kurako stood up and said, I'm committed to carrying out my duties in accordance to the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi. Then let us take an oath to say so. Despite the fact that it is enshrined in the law, until 1975, as pointed out by my colleague, Mr. Rurafe, until 1975, there was great debate about whether or not we should even recognise the treaty. It was declared a nullity in the law. So now we have it. And the true expression of rangatiratanga for the people who are partnered to the treaty should be allowing them to take an oath to do so. But people say it would confuse us. Well, tell me what is not confusing about swearing an oath on the Bible, swearing an oath to God. Tell me how many Christian religions there are who argue about the face of God and what that might look like. And yet, how do we uphold that? We stand up here and swear an oath of allegiance, doing so, and that's not confusing. We don't hold somebody to a standard different to someone who doesn't swear an oath to God. We don't stand up here and say, but the Queen is higher than God, therefore you can admit God but not the Queen. We don't find that confusing. The ignorance that this House continues to be bathed in just defies belief. This country is held up as a beacon to the rest of the Indigenous peoples of the world as a way forward because it is founded on a treaty. Today I gave an interview on Sky TV in Australia as they debated whether or not the Aboriginal people in Australia should have a treaty. Because they go, look at you, New Zealand, you have one. Aren't you great? Haven't you come so far? Well, obviously not far enough. Not far enough. I'm disappointed by Nuk. In fact, I think that he must have choked on those words, Mr. Kurako, as he struggled to say them today. My colleague Joe Hayes, who I sit next to, who talked about the confusion of those who might and those who won't, and yet the confusion of the interpretations of the Bible exist. Do you know that the Adjudicature Modernisation Bill is about to come up? And in the modernisation of that bill, they wanted to take out the treaty clause. Because we, as a party of independent Māori voice, uphold the principles of the treaty, we went to the minister and implored her to retain that clause to ensure that anything relating in that bill does so with the treaty. And she has put it back in. Imagine if we weren't here to do that. Imagine if we just left it because it's in the law, we don't need it. Mr. Speaker, we do need it. We need to show that we are progressive. We need to show that we are committed. And I challenge every member of this House who has sworn to vote for this bill that next when they come to swear an oath of allegiance, stand up and do so to the treaty, despite the fact whether or not we will be thrown out for it. It is abhorrent to me that we can't do this simple thing, and I am disappointed in this House and its continual bathing in ignorance. That's right.
Members, this debate